Hello. Hi, welcome
Hello.
to Endgame. Here we are. I'm
Yay.
Namano. I'm here with Psych and Eve today. And today we're going to talk about performing in virtual reality, right? Like music,
Hello.
comedy,
Hi, welcome to
theater, whatever. We're going to
Endgame.
try
Here
a
we
bunch of
are.
stuff and
I'm
dive into
Namano.
how
I'm here
it's
with.
different than performing in real life. And who are we going to start with?
My computer performance.
It's you, Eve. We're going to start with you.
Eve. Yes. Haha.
So, Psych, I think we should stand back and let Eve sort of take it away. Oh, you said there was a little bit of context for this. Do you want to say anything?
Oh yeah. Eve, did you want to just say like you wrote this song and stuff? Did you want to give context to the song or?
Okay, so I don't know. Hope everyone can hear me. Happy to be here, and I'm going to be singing a song called "One Part Southern" that I composed, and so here it goes. I still see those pines all around, still see blue in the sky. I still hear that train whistle sound as it passes on by. Oh, I'm long gone, raised to Tar Heel, and I'll always be one part Southern mixed right in, still inside of me. I remember songs that they sang on my car radio. Country songs were sung with a twang, singing slow. Friendly says, sweet embraces, and replaces those memories. When I hear someone saying, "Oh," takes me back even now. I start talking slow with a drawl. Left me somehow. Though I'm long gone, raised to Tar Heel, and I'll always be one part Southern mixed right in, still inside of me. Southern life so gentle and fine that it gave me a whirl. Though I left my sweet Caroline, Caroline's in this girl. Though I'm long gone, raised to Tar Heel, and I'll always be one part Southern mixed right in, still inside of me. Yeah, still inside of me.
Woo! That's it.
Nice.
Yes. Nice.
That was
Wow.
great.
I have to
Nice.
say, first time. This is the first time I've ever performed in VR, and it was really fascinating experience for me. But anyway, you have
Well,
questions.
tell us about it. How was it?
Does anyone-
Yeah. Well,
Well, it's
what was it like?
you know, I was really thinking about performing and how important it is to have the connection between me and the audience, because in real life when I perform I'm looking around and I'm kind of connecting with people's their faces and watching their expressions, and there's sort of this interaction that's going on. And I thought, gee, if I don't have that, what's it going to be like, right? Am I going to have the same sense of being on stage and really, and I did have that sense a lot more than I thought I would, actually. And I'm on desktop. That's why I look very wooden standing here. But and people were giving me thumbs up, and there is a way to express how they feel. So that was good. So I don't know. I know there are a lot of other people who are going up here, and I have other thoughts on it. But I think maybe we ought to get the next person, or do. Yeah.
What were you about to say? It's like
Now
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that I think it's interesting because this whole episode's about performance, but I think that. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
yes.
So, this whole episode is about performance, but it's interesting because, like, from a psychological perspective, there's this idea that we're always performing. Like, if you think about, like, right now we're actually physically on a stage, but whenever we're in front of other people in any context, we're always kind of on a stage, so to speak, and the other people are the audience and we are the performers. So I think it's an interesting thing that you come back to connecting with the audience, because ultimately, like, performance is a presentation of the self. Like, we're presenting ourselves in a certain way based on how we think the audience wants to perceive us. So it's kind of interesting, I think, that broad definition of performance, and that's why I think comedy especially fits in, and music and all that kind of stuff, because it's about changing how you're presenting yourself to others and then having them perceive you, and then, I don't know, that kind of interactive component. So
yes.
I mean, it felt
for
a little
anyone who
interactive
just.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nimona.
Well, we're having some audio glitches, and Psych was
can't
too.
hear you.
Like, everything is
Canadian
super
stand-up.
delayed because we're having like a weird tech issue. So that's what's going
Yeah.
on.
Also,
you
yeah.
go first.
A disclaimer: the VR chat update kind of broke everything right now, so thanks for bearing with us.
Oh. Well, listen, thanks to all of you
Thanks for coming
letting
and
me
singing.
come up here and be a part of this. And,
Yeah, true.
Really
Rubik is.
appreciate it, and I'll.
No.
Yeah, it's Dave. Yeah.
Wait, what's happening?
Mrs. Whisker's fault.
Whiskers.
You can't blame everything on
I'm
Mr.
gonna move
Whisker.
off now.
God damn it.
Okay. Well,
Thank you, Eve.
Feline Tracer.
Center
let's go
stage
for
and-
just a. Hold
Yeah.
on, Eve. Come back here. We're gonna give Chris one more minute to arrive. I'm curious about Psych
Okay.
because
Okay.
you've known Psych for a long time.
Kind of.
And I've asked you before.
Eve
Like,
is my mom.
if-
Full disclosure.
Yes. Yes.
Aw.
do you remember the
I
first time you
have.
went out to perform, Psych? And like, I'm curious if Eve saw you perform at some point when you were very, very young. How you felt about it? Can you open up a little bit for us?
Oh, it's
Oh
so
boy.
laggy.
Oh boy, this is gonna be embarrassing. Oh good, yeah, it's
Record it,
laggy. It's
record
laggy. We can't answer this. It's laggy.
The saving grace is the VR
It's
chat.
laggy.
Wait, I'm
Yeah, thanks.
come
thanks for
on,
the update,
embarrass
Rubik.
yourself.
You
I
really
do it all
saved
the
me.
time.
understand. What was the question?
I was looking for an early memory of Psych performing when he was a child.
Well, he is a very musical guy, and he did a lot of performing, including he played trumpet, trombone, and probably one of the most exciting things was when he was in a huge marching band in college. And I was amazed as a musician that not only did he play and had to memorize all the music, but he also had to be moving and be in certain spots at certain times when you're part of a marching band. So that, and of course you're doing that in a stadium, so there are a hell of a lot of people.
It's
in
kind of like a
there.
hive mind.
And he did it. Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. Totally different than the more intimate, kind of performing that I do, but it was pretty cool.
So are you thinking about the audience, or are you thinking, you called it a hive mind? Are you just thinking about the whole big band?
No, the band, like, we're all like morphing into these shapes, and basically all of us have in our heads like this giant shape that we want to assume and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a hive mind, and that we're all kind of taking the steps that we need to create the picture that we want, the kind of unified picture. So that performance is kind of like a very social thing where you have to relate to others. Even any like band, playing in band at all. Like, I'm curious if anyone's been in a band or anything, even like elementary school. Give a thumbs up for the band nerds. I know you're out there.
They're not.
Yes. One. Hey, there we go. Yay.
I think one thing.
Yeah.
What we might discover, I think,
Thank
is that
God.
there's many people who their first performance happens in VR, right? Like this opens some people up. We'll get there eventually. All right. So.
But maybe.
Well,
So maybe Vic Muse.
You want me to
come?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump to McMuse then. McMuse, are you ready to go?
Okay.
Okay, can you step to the front?
Yeah, McMuse.
All right, so put your hands together for our next performer. Cryptocurrency master and musician, McMuse.
Okay, so let me switch mics really quick because this is one of the interesting challenges with performing in VR is you've got to you have all these technical issues. So let me switch to a mic that sounds decent with some effects, and I'm gonna do some looping and multiple instruments. So here we go.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So you should hear me a little echoey now,
Nice.
and I'm gonna go ahead and take it away. So this is the interesting thing. Let me make sure I've got everything like squared away, and then get my stage nerves out of here. So here we go.
Yep, I got that.
said it again. Mine is all you have. You see the end. Better start looking up. I don't really mind. You gotta take your time and find out what makes you tick now. I said take it down. Never gonna stop until we turn around now. I feel the same. I feel the same as I did. Feel the same as I did. Feel the same as I did.
So that's a little taste of what I do. I do a lot of improv, so that was total improv off the top of my head because that's what I love about VR. It kind of gives you that opportunity to get comfortable improving a little more.
Nice. That was great. That was really
we can
cool. I
all get in
love
the
the
light here.
looping.
Wait, so one thing that immediately comes to mind, like, how do people applaud in virtual reality? Like, whenever you're doing these and Eve, get back up here.
I hear a lot of broken hand controllers. I think that's what happens.
Yes. As a big clicking sound.
If you're in desktop, you just
I
clap.
mean, because Eve was mentioning, like, a big part of it is the connection with the audience, right? Like, a musician
Sounds
doesn't
like
just sit
knuckles
alone
clunk.
playing out to no one.
That's
like, there has to be
exactly
sort
what
of
I
a response.
thought. That's
I'm like,
exactly. I was like, oh no.
Is it just clicks, or is it people doing, like, the clicking with their tongue, or do people yell?
Yeah.
Like,
So I have a question.
I mean,
How
Country, you said, like,
I mean, I'm
click
just
the
curious that
controllers, right?
first of all, that was amazing. I mean, that was like really, it sounded beautiful and stuff. And like, did people?
so wait, McHughes,
like,
you've actually been
did other
performing
people
in
have a lot of
VR for
audio
quite
distortion
a while.
due to the
Can you tell us
glitches
a
in
little bit
VR
how
chat?
you got
Oh, you're doing
started?
it here?
Hold on, I've got
Okay.
Psych talking and you talking. I think we got lag.
Oh
Yes.
shit, I can't hear Psych. Oops.
Oh
yeah,
god.
Hold on. Okay, so Namano, what were you saying, and then I'll jump to Psych's question here.
No, that's fine. Answer Psych. I can't hear what you guys are talking about.
Okay.
He's muted.
Psych.
You're muted, Namato. I can't hear you. What the? What? I
Oh
can't.
no. Okay, so they can't hear each other, so this will be an interesting one. Okay, so Namano's question was about the hand clicking and actual clapping and applause, which is the interesting thing because it's interesting. I'll hear people actually put their hand controllers down and actually applaud, and then I hear other people clacking their hand controllers together lightly, and then some people just use the emojis or cheer or stuff. So there's that side of it. It's interesting, but there is that connection with the audience that does fuel the performance a little bit like you're actually in a live
So bad to
environment.
get it.
But Psych, what was your like stuff like that. So what was your question, Psych?
Mine was about like basically that everyone that when you're performing, you might think that you're coming across a certain way, but in virtual reality, all of a sudden, and in real life, there's a discrepancy sometimes between how the performer thinks they're being perceived and how they're actually being perceived. But in here, even with all the audio glitches and all that kind of stuff, like you could do a whole performance and think that everyone's hearing you word for word, and like you could be muted the whole time, and people couldn't even hear a single word you said. So how does that change the dynamic of what it means to perform?
Quite a bit. I mean, when we had YouTube panels working, there was an interesting side of that where I actually had people who, if they were having issues, they would actually just pull up a YouTube panel, or they would just pull up YouTube in the background just to hear the performance, because I'll play for an hour or two sometimes, and they'll just be listening to that in the background if they're personally having an issue. And the people who aren't, they'll actually sit there, like right in front of me, and actually engage and talk with me, and some people will stand next to me and dance, and it's interesting. But you know, it depends. There's been these windows where it has worked really well, and then there's these windows where it's worked really bad, and then there's times when I use the stage here in VR mostly to write anyway, so it doesn't matter if someone isn't really listening. It's kind of like me being in a bar with ambient noise around me, just helping me with the creative process. So that's how it is for me, but for other people it's kind of hit and miss, I guess.
How long have you been playing in VR? Because I know you've been playing the Pug for a while, and I saw you in the old Hub back in the day.
Yeah, I did a VR tour last summer is when I really started doing it like quite heavily, and I pretty much toured around every single virtual world, like Second Life included, as well as some of the weird obscure ones, and I just played all over the place. So it started this last summer, and now I'm still just doing it and working on my album in here.
That's pretty awesome. Well, let's keep rolling.
I think Eve said Eve had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask which you prefer to be, and what do you think the biggest trade-off is in performing in VR as opposed to real life?
There isn't really a trade-off because I work quite a bit. I mean, everyone a lot of people here know I work in the cryptocurrency industry, and it keeps me pretty busy. So I don't have time but to close my laptop, finish working, and then turn to the mic and jump in here and play. I can't actually tour, so there's not much of a trade-off other than the fact that it's allowing me to perform when I otherwise probably wouldn't be able to at all.
Like if you didn't have access to this, you wouldn't play like out in bars or anything anymore.
No, I mean I'm working more than full time with my career, and it keeps me more than busy. So people wouldn't hear my music if it wasn't for VR.
Wow, so it's really enabling a whole new type of performance, and it's unlocking the ability to perform for people who wouldn't otherwise be able to. That's pretty cool.
Because you can play in your bedroom alone and record stuff all you want, but you don't have that energy from an actual audience that typically helps music really mature. And I get that now, and I wouldn't otherwise.
And is that energy one last question too, is that energy even when you're in VR and you can't necessarily see everyone and all that kind of stuff, but that they're behind their headsets listening, and so I guess do you think that your brain partially kind of conjures some level of energy that you're not even sure whether people, like someone could be AFK maybe, but like you kind of just feel like the audience is there compared to other mediums?
They really are, because let's face it, some people have full body tracking, some people have their headsets on, hearing controllers, and you actually see them just like you would down below a stage, actually dancing and moving and bobbing their head.
Yeah, they're moving.
Cheering, and you see that movement, and that movement is actually really part of that feedback that Eve was talking about. Is even if you can't really see their face and their facial expressions in real life, you hear their responses, you hear their claps, their cheers, you see them bobbing. Some people even are dancing with each other. I've seen multiple couples dancing in front of me, and they're actually in their living room dancing with one another with two different headsets on. I've seen that several times, and that's really what it's all about, is getting that energy and feeding off of it.
Oh, that's...
Yeah.
It also seems dangerous. Don't dance too much with other people when you're in VR. It's like,
yeah, you better have a really good play area if you're going to do that. But no, it's I have seen several people doing it, and I haven't ever seen anyone fall over. So I guess it's a new skill set.
Okay, so let's keep going. Stick around, McMuse, because we're going to bring you back. But
sure.
Chris, are you prepared to go? Let's bring Chris up on stage. Nope. No? Do we have to do it? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe we need to sort of cheer him on more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Stop it. Okay. Hi, everybody. You may remember me. I've been in VR chat since kind of the early days before the big VR chat boom. Kind of doing puppetry with the first one was Marlin and the whole "Have you seen my son?" and that sort of thing. And since then, I'm a professional puppeteer. I've been kind of using VR chat as a platform to bring puppeteering into the VR space. So I was asked to come here and perform, so I thought I'd start off. I do need one person from the audience to actually come up on stage if possible.
All right, let's get out of here, Psych. We're not the volunteer.
Yeah, get out of here! Get out of here!
Me, man, do it.
No.
How about No Mono? How about you pick someone?
Wait, why?
Just do
all
it.
right, Rubik, you do it.
Yes.
You know
Finally
these
paid off.
people.
And now I have
Nice.
the seat.
Okay.
All right. All right. I'm gonna go back there. Perfect. So scaly.
Cool.
All right.
Nice.
I'm gonna back there for just a second and change. I'll be right back.
All right. I'm scared now.
So how's your life, Rubik?
Good. Doing good. Keeping busy.
This is the Rubik show. It's all
Oh, boy.
No, it's mine. No, I'm scared. Oh shit.
Let me move my camera. Yeah. Hello. I want to serenade you. Yeah. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
You
I
ready?
want it. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Let me start my music, okay? Where's that music button?
Oh.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Sing along if you know the words.
I don't know.
I heard there was a secret chord that gave it wine and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do I? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor whine, the major whine, the baffled king composing Waluigi. 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 Yeah!
Yes.
Well,
Look what you did to him.
You did really good. Way to go.
I didn't.
All right. What? No, you're not done yet.
Oh,
You're not done yet. You're not done
this is
yet.
scary.
You're not done yet. Okay. Where's my camera? Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Let me move this thing. Oh shit! I just hit a wall. Okay. You ready for one more?
I am.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you all ready for one more?
Yeah.
One more. Let me
Yeah.
start my music again. Oh. Wait for it. Just so you know.
Oh no.
If you were gay, that'd be okay. I mean, cause hey, I like you anyway. Because you see, if it were me, I would feel free to say that I was gay, but I'm not gay. Now, isn't that an important lesson?
Not really. No.
If you were queer, I'd still be here, year after year, because you're dear to me, and I know that you would respect me too. If I told you today, hey, guess what? I'm gay, but I'm not gay. I'm happy just being with you. So what does it matter to me what you do in bed with guys? If you were gay, I'd shout, hooray! But here I'd say, but I wouldn't get in your way. You can count on me to always be beside you every day, to tell you it's okay, you were just born that way, and as they say, it's in your DNA, you're gay. Oh, if you were gay, ha! Thank you.
Ruben is gay.
Oh, yay! Now, wasn't that an
Yes.
impression?
Take that back. Thank you for that.
This is just
No, it's very good.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Get out of here.
You're welcome.
Get out of here.
Thank you.
Get out of here. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Goodbye, strange puppet.
Yeah,
Wow. That was amazing.
What'd you say to me?
Wait, where'd my body go? Is my body stuck in the ground?
I don't even see. You look okay to me, though.
Oh, you can hear him now.
He looks just fine.
Oh, welcome back, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Hey,
Fantastic.
Been a while.
wait, so
That's
was
basically
amazing.
what I do. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bravo.
But yeah,
So,
that's basically. So I'm. Go on.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So I'm a professional puppeteer. I've worked with Disney, and I've worked along people with the Muppets and Jim Henson, and they've all kind of been giving me support on just developing puppetry for virtual reality. And it's so incredibly similar puppeteering in virtual reality than it is to real life, and the types of reactions that I get that it just meshes so well. And it's just something that no one would have known unless you try it. So I'm just happy to be the first one to try it and see that it works so well. And I'm really excited for more people bringing more things into VR and seeing that, wow, I didn't know that this works so well in virtual reality. So it's exciting.
Wait, Eve, were you about to ask him something?
I'm sorry. I can't tell if I'm like talking over someone, but Chris, I wanted to tell you that I used to work for Sesame Street.
Did you really? You actually worked for Sesame Workshop?
Oh no!
I don't think he's saying it. He's just.
Yeah, he is. Can you guys not hear him?
He's just delayed. I think
he can hear.
Let me.
Yeah, I hear her.
1 second.
I hear her
so fast. I'm gonna hop on.
Yes, I worked.
No, see you next time.
I knew Jim Henson.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You've been fine.
So you work for the Sesame Street,
Yeah.
the Sesame Company. What did you do?
What did you do at Sesame Street?
Thank you, Gunter.
Yeah.
What did you do at
Yes.
Sesame Street? We must know now.
she'll get it. She'll get it. It's just delayed. Yeah.
It's called
She
Children's
was the yes
Television
man.
Workshop, and I don't. Okay, it's yeah.
Keep going.
I did research
It's good,
for
Eve.
them.
Okay.
Everything's delayed, so we hear you.
I will mime my
responding
reaction.
delayed.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really funny.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's
You just have to talk
Almost
over
impossible.
it, I guess, if it's your.
Do we each just have to commit to talking over each other?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we start talking,
Just
you
keep
just have to
going.
keep
we
talking.
can talk later. It's okay. No.
So Chris, I'm surprised.
Yeah, the
so
show
like,
must go
at
on.
first, I didn't realize you were like a real life puppeteer as well. Like it seemed like 'cause I came to discover you through like YouTube videos where it seemed like it was like this crazy. I mean, with the Double Goose video, like have you seen my son or whatever?
Right.
So like, how often do you do like this type of a show though, where you actually like have a routine and you're not just like going off into the world?
Well, personally, just about every weekend I'm doing something professional. I usually puppeteer for private events just to get by.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no. It's part of the it's part of the play.
Oh no!
It's all broken, guys, I swear. Gunter,
It
You just
caught up
turn
with him.
invisible.
Okay, well,
It's
what do you do? What's gonna happen?
It
What's
caught
gonna
up with
happen
him.
is he's gonna come back, I'm sure, and
It's the
talk
Mr.
to
Whiskers.
us, and we will talk to him a little bit more then. But
No,
why
it's
don't
good.
we just bring up the next group? I think we should go with
Yes.
Goblox and his crew of improv players, right? So come get up here, Goblox, and then you can bring introduce your crew.
That's the name. It's cool.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yes, improv.
I have no idea how well this is gonna work because I could only hear like half the people on the stage out of my headphones, and then I had to do like through another avatar, listen to the rest of them. It's crazy. But
For
anyways,
improv, that doesn't
I wanna
matter,
get-
right? You don't have to hear
as
each
long
other.
as no, improv, you don't need to hear each other at all. Okay, why don't we get everybody that's in the improv troupe up out of your seats? Let's get everybody on stage here.
Get to work.
Can I join?
Sure, come on up here.
Yes.
That's a lot of people. Wow.
Come on, ready boy.
Oh wow, my
I'm gonna
mic
stand
was
over
muted
here
the
because
whole
I'm
time.
independent. I'm not part of the hive mind. I'm independent.
Oh, you.
Free finger.
by saying that, it makes you part of the hive mind.
So yeah,
It's
so
just the
this
other
is
hive
our improv. This is part of our improv group, and we do shows in here every Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. The show's been running for about a year. We've done it pretty much every weekend, minus a couple weekends here and there where we had some failed recordings and whatnot. But so far, we have about 36 shows up on YouTube. You can find them by searching VR Chat Improv on YouTube. And I think that we should just jump right into this, and we're going to do one of our games for you tonight. And that game that we're going to play is called Give Me a Hand. And the way that that game is played is that that's going to involve two actors, and they're going to improvise a scene. Generally, we do like a job interview or something like that. And you guys will provide the job in question. And then occasionally our actors will turn to you and need help with a word or something like that. And when they turn to you, you got to help them out. Okay, guys? So the scene will end when I buzz this buzzer. And I know we have a lot of people up here, and we're not going to have time for everyone to be involved. So why don't we get all the actors like in the back there, just along the step. And then I'm just going to call a couple of you out to do this.
Can you answer with mayonnaise?
It's not an instrument.
Okay.
Okay, so let's try to decide what's the job interview going to be about.
Cleaning lady.
VR chat lawyer.
Take a seat if you want.
VR chat
Big
lawyer,
man.
interesting.
Virtual
therapist.
Joining a marching band.
I like that.
Yes,
Astronauts
marching
and all.
band.
Polygon construction crew.
What was the one you suggested, Amano?
Joining a marching band.
Marching band? Okay. Hiring a hitman to go undercover in a marching band. And so, we're going to, let's start out here. And let's start out with Marblade and Zircron. And let's get you guys up to the front of the stage.
What a terror.
And Marblade, you really need to hire this hitman for this marching band. It's your number one priority right now. And this looks like this might be the guy for the job, but only way we'll find out.
Excuse me.
You mind if I smoke
You
in
just
here?
walked into my office. I figured.
Thanks. Okay, you need a assassin right now, don't you? I'm the man for you.
Yeah, but you got to bring all your own equipment, right? That's the way it's. You know, you don't think that you're gonna walk in here. I'm gonna supply all the murdering, like, implements.
Of course I bring all my equipment. Like right here in my pocket I have my special set of trombone.
Lollipop.
My trombones.
Trombones.
Like, I
Mini
got one trombone
trombones.
here that only plays the C instrument, and I have another trombone over here that plays you and the knuckles clucking. It's really great for distractions, you know.
That seems wildly inefficient.
So is
you know,
art, my friend.
I'm really
So is
looking
art.
for efficiency with my murders. Something that's gonna get it over quick, leave no traces. Something using an implement like
Saxophone.
Pitchfork.
Timpani.
Potatoes.
Pillow.
Heart attack.
a pillow and a pitchfork. Some combination of those items.
I'm gonna use the trombones as well, because if I can put the pillow inside the trombone and then just go,
Well, that's
puff
just your
feathers.
style. You know, every murderer has to leave their signature kind of style. With you, it's a trombone, apparently.
And mine is the bulge on the head when you hit someone over the head with a trombone, even when they're dead. Gotta
No,
do that.
usually that's what happens when you hit them on the head. They naturally just grow that bulge. That's nothing you're doing. This is normal.
Freeze. Let's get Marblade swapped out with Mika.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about how you use the trombone and the pillow combination to assassinate your victims.
Well, you see, it's really simple, you know. I just put the pillow inside the trombone, and I play a C chord diminishing note, and then I just shock them both with noise, and then pop the feathers, and I pull out my pistol, and I kill them.
Excellent, excellent. That's exactly what we need. And it being a trombone is really convenient because I need you to assassinate an entire marching band. The marching band did something really screwed up to me. You know what they did? They
took your lunch money.
Laughed at my wiener.
Stole my baguette.
Stole my avatar.
Raped
your father.
took all the red Skittles.
Oh. No,
They
red
stole
Skittles.
my father's lunch money.
My God. Poverty is striking again. Well, I'm a vigilante, I'm a ladies' man, and an artistic musician assassin. I'm the right man for the job. I'll blend right in onto this marching band. I'm gonna go and get my outfit of elaborately dressed
Mayonnaise themed outfit.
Very nice themed outfit of a turkey. They won't expect it coming. I'll just go again, and I'll just go over here and then.
You haven't talked about you so well. Convenient. That's so convenient because the marching band is actually for a football team called the Louisiana Turkeys, basted in mayonnaise. You said something about that, right? But no. So
okay. We're not going about mayonnaise, are we? I don't do contract mayonnaise.
Freeze. Let's get Zircon swapped out with Vitru.
I love this.
That suggestion shouldn't be even in there.
I don't mean to toot my horn or anything, but you see what I did there? That was a joke. I'm not very good at jokes. I'm good at killing people. So tell me, what's the contract you need, and when do I need to do it?
I need this marching band killed. Let's see. They're going to be marching at about. Let's see, what time will it be? 3 a.m. They're going to be doing a march for a special event, such as
Mr. Whisker's Hunt.
They're going to be marching. They're all going to be marching the Walk of Shame at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The entire band will be marching out of my neighbor's house, doing the Walk of Shame, and I'll need you to catch them right at that time. That is the best time to catch them because nobody's in the neighborhood except for me, my neighbor, and I'm sure that band will be there as they usually are on Friday nights.
Walk of Freeze. Freeze. Let's get Mika swapped out with me. Meme Devour.
Meme?
You're up, Meme. Oh, maybe he can't hear me. Tell Meme he's got. Tell Meme he's
Meme.
up. You're up.
Hey, Meme! Get over here!
Meme Devourer.
Okay, let's get Shark Boy out here instead. Let's get Tom Nautical.
My friends are dying.
No worries.
You going first, or am I? Or can you not hear me?
I can hear you. This is fine, Tom.
Okay. Yeah. You do the fucking shit. You do the murder the marching band with your fangled trumpet and turkey suit. You gonna be able to do it within a time frame?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna get them during that walk of shame. You know, it's gonna be definitely depressing, but you know, I'm not the only one that's gonna be laughing. Yeah, absolutely. Am I? I'm not the only one that's gonna be laughing. Okay. All right. So you know, cut the chat and everything. So you want let's see. I offer specialty killings. You want silent, loud. Maybe you want something with a special tool known as the.
Judge me.
My
What the hell is
Grand Strangler.
Have you heard of the Fondler?
You're touching yourself.
Oh, the Fondler. I've actually heard a bit about the Fondler back in '92. They brought it out on the dive team and the swim team. Yeah, they couldn't walk straight afterwards. That's for sure.
Their jimmies were so ruffled at the end of it. They were completely gone. You know, there was no trace of the class of '96. But you know, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about trying to kill these people. Okay, you know, that's what I'm here for. So when can I start exactly?
Oh, we already went over the time. You're going to be doing it in the time frame of the March of Shame. But the only other time frame that they have is shortly after that. They're having a gala and a ball that's being hosted at the
Anonymous Alcoholics.
Hotline headquarters. The John Phillips Sousa Bachnal.
Meth Heads Anonymous.
So there's a Meth Heads Anonymous meeting on top of a lighthouse, you know, out in the water. That's where they're going to be, you know, doing their marching band. So it doesn't sound like they've got that much room to do anything, but apparently they've got it all figured out.
These kids are absolutely nuts, man.
Let's cut it there, guys. I know we have limited time, so that's all we're going to be able to do for today. So why don't we get everybody out here?
One more.
Even if we're just sitting on stage. stage.
Oh, it's
Mayonnaise!
Yes!
You've been a great audience.
Standing ovation. Well done.
See
Bitchin
y'all at Meth
is
Heads Anonymous.
go kill
If this
yourself.
looks like fun, something you want to do, go to the VR Chat Events Discord at vrchatevents.com.
Sorry.
That's all we
thought you were
do.
doing
Yes.
that, so-
Well, let's talk a little
Yeah,
bit.
don't kill
So,
yourself,
like,
don't
you
kill yourself.
guys do a show every Sunday, right? And you do your rehearsals on Saturdays.
Yeah, we do. There's actually like a private like improv workshop that I hold on Saturdays for people that are interested in getting into improv, maybe don't want to do it in front of a crowd yet, and also for actors that just kind of want to work on their skills and whatnot. They can come to that. So, and then the actual show is on Sunday.
I'd be curious to hear from a couple of them, like why they signed up. Like Catapult. Is this something you would have done in real life, or like did you join this just because it's in VR? So why did you join? Get up here.
Actually, I watched the show a couple of times, actually quite a few times, and then I said that looks like fun. So Goblox used to have every second week. It was anybody that's new could try. So I gave it a shot. The first couple of times I was a nervous wreck, and then once I started getting the hang of it, the more shows I did, the more at ease I became, and now it's kind of like not a problem. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like just fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing. You
So
never know
being
what
comfortable
any of
performing
these
like
guys
you
are
do.
going to say, and then it's just fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. Sorry?
Yeah. Sorry, can you say that again?
I saw that's so weird because I saw you respond delayed, which is the audio is so much up. But yeah, no, it's really interesting because you're saying that you were more comfortable. That once you were more comfortable, it became easier, and then the performance became better in a way. So I think that's interesting that it's like anxiety about performing can also sometimes affect the actual performance or whatever. And then once you gain skill in it or experience, it like becomes easier. I just remember feeling the same way when I first started performing trumpet or trombone and stuff like that. The same kind of feelings, and then you get more comfortable with it.
Yeah,
You guys all
it's kinda
sort of
like
agree.
The more you do it, the more at ease you become with it. It's just like anything else. You become experienced, and it just becomes easier. For me, anyway, it does.
But for most of you, do you think you would have like stepped on stage in real life and joined a troupe if you thought it was interesting? I mean, Rad's shaking the finger, but like, so is that is like is he speaking for most of you?
Actually, I would have loved to have done this in real life, but I really couldn't find any improv like things IRL, so this is why I decided to come here instead.
So not only is it safer
convenient.
here, but it's like also just an opportunity. Like if you live someplace where they're not doing an improv show, it's like, yeah, this is going to be a common,
Ability to perform, ease of access is a theme because McMuse, you said that too, that you wouldn't be able to be doing your performances unless you were like, but VR has enabled that, and same thing with improv. It's like VR is unlocking our ability to perform for probably it's going to be millions of people who have performed otherwise. Like eventually it's really allowing people to perform in a new way.
And also think about
Oh,
I was just going to add in that it's also very interesting to think about how if you were like to want to join improv or something, IRL, you'd go to the local, whatever workshop was going on, and then you sort of limited to whatever actors were there and whatnot. But with like VR, you're able to work with people from all over the world, and they're able to stand right next to you. It really like blows those borders wide open as far as who you can work with.
Something going on over
What are the
there.
actors doing?
Having fun.
I mean, they're taking advantage of leg tracking.
Let him do it.
Full body. I've never seen this. I wish I was in VR for this right now. This is insane. It's so immersive
Hopefully
to see
Ghoster
that
is
whole
catching
people
that. Wait,
moving
Marmalade,
their
what were
bodies.
you going to add?
Here.
I'm gonna need some full body tracking.
Marmalade, were you going to say something?
I think I was. I think I was going to basically say the same thing, that I'd love to sign up for this kind of thing, like, but there's nothing in my area, and I probably would have done it ages ago, but I just, this is much more convenient than actually going somewheres.
Do you think it's just going to be more common in the future with like this kind of technology that more and more people will become performers? Like this opportunity will sort of open up for a lot of
I
people.
would have to say yes.
Yeah.
I would have to say yes.
I wonder if in some degree it'll catch almost everybody. Like, I don't know. Can we do a quick poll? Like, can you do a thumbs up if you're likely to join some kind of artistic or improv or just performance thing in VR, or thumbs down if you're a solid no?
I'll be on Saturday.
Are there any solid no's out there?
Wow, lots of thumbs up.
I saw one down, so that's pretty good. Like, that's a lot of new opportunities.
Yeah, if you guys, hey, quiet you. If you guys ever want to do it, just like let me know. We can set it up. You guys can come to workshop, and figure it out. I'm accessible, so let me know.
Let's go to the final performance, and then we're going to bring everybody back to sort of close it out. So finally, there is also an open mic in VR chat, and that is run by Gunter. So I'm going to bring him up here, and then you can sort of talk about that.
Ciao, guys.
I'll listen to that.
What's happening?
No one say anything.
Do you want to talk about the open mic before we bring your performer up, or should we do that first and then sort of review after?
Sure.
Let's do that first, right?
Shoot, I don't know. Yeah. Let's listen to Jord here. I brought Jord out.
Hi.
She's amazing.
Yay! Where do I go? Just here?
Yeah, there's a circle
I
there.
love your sweatshirt. That's so great too.
Hey, thanks. So, what I usually do is I perform at open mic nights, and also karaoke that Gunter started not too long ago again. And yeah, that's what I usually do. And I'm gonna be singing an Ed Sheeran song for you guys today, if that's all right. Hopefully you like Ed Sheeran. If not, then that sucks for you. All right, just gotta get my stuff settled.
Everyone loves Ed.
I hope it's. I agree.
Exactly.
Quiet.
All right. Walking down 29th and Park, I saw you in another's arms. Only a month we've been apart. You look happier. Saw you walk inside a bar. You said something to make you laugh. I saw that both of your smiles were twice as wide as ours. Yeah, you look happier, you do. Ain't nobody hurt you like I hurt you. Ain't nobody love you like I do. Promise that I will not take it personal. If you're moving on with someone new, baby, you look happier, you do. My friends told me one day I'll feel it too. And until then I'll smile to hide the truth. But I know I was happier with you. Sat in the corner of the room. Everything's reminding me of you. Nursing an empty bottle and telling myself you're happier, aren't you? Ain't nobody hurt you like I hurt you. But ain't nobody need you like I do. I know that there's others that deserve you, but my darling, I am still in love with you. I guess you look happier, you do. My friends told me one day I'll feel it too. I could try to smile to hide the truth, but I know I was happier.
What happened? What?
The Disney songs that you sang?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's no strange. These guys are not strangers to me singing Disney songs and karaoke. A lot of these guys got to really karaoke days, and it's just kind of an extension of that. Karaoke broke, and open mic was always on the mind, anyways. And it's really cool to find people that play instruments. We got some people that play piano, play guitar. It's usually mostly that singing guitar, singing piano. Definitely mostly all musicians. We've had some comedy in the past. Some people doing dancing routines. I'd like to have some more variety, of course. But it's definitely a lot of musicians come out. This place is ripe for musicians, for sure, except we have the limitations of audio problems. You can't really see us perform. Like if I have to play guitar, I have to go like this, and pick up my guitar, and I can't touch my controllers at the same time because it's already hard enough to deal with the guitar. So, all that kind of information isn't coming through. Some people can't sit in their headset. They got to read the lyrics. So there's a lot of disconnect. But all these people watching. You were nervous as hell, weren't you?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I was nervous.
Couldn't tell.
Can't tell, though. Yep.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, we still get the same jitters.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's worse, too, because you can't see their faces, You don't know if they're just ignoring you, looking at, Reddit.
And and in the audience, I also am anxious. Like, I want to see more body movement. Like, I'm excited for that to kick in eventually when we have different kinds of tracking solutions, and I can actually, even though I guess you wouldn't even have that much arm movement if you're playing the guitar, but like a little something, to know that there's a human being there would be good.
Yeah.
You couldn't have an animation for this anymore, right?
Right now, it's all practical. It's great to share your talent, your music. It comes right through. It might not be great quality. We don't have things like megaphones but the raw talent comes through, and it's a pleasure. Like, sweet, I get to listen to this, and 12 other people come and perform. It's really
Are there
cool.
any?
I think we were talking about it on the show on Sunday. Sorry, is like there's probably going to be a big star that's discovered in VR chat probably in a year or two. Just that talent is so good, it just comes through. And then it could get to the point where like people become stars and they're never known in their real life, right? We just found them here. We just met them here. That's the only relationship they really care about, because that's where you find them, is in VR. So they just are VR performer.
So you're saying we would only know them as like their avatar, like the real human might be a mystery?
It could be that way. Why not? Like Daft Punk, you don't really know. So I could see an artist doing basically just staying behind the avatar, not necessarily needing to. There's a lot of people.
Have you seen anything unusual at open mic that you wouldn't be able to see in real life? Sort of like Chris is doing with the puppets. Like anything that's kind of unique to this.
That's pretty unique.
Medium?
Yeah, that's pretty unique.
That would be a great question to ask if I could finish my Q&A.
No. Yes.
I mean, since he's crying about it, can we bring Chris back up really quickly?
We should just bring everyone up. Yeah, we got. I think we got to wrap up soon too, because it's been about an hour and a half. So let's just bring everyone up and then.
But let's give Chris a minute to finish.
Complaining has never gotten me so far.
You're back on stage.
Do you remember where you crapped out? At some point you froze and then disappeared.
Yes.
What were you in the middle of?
That's exactly
I have. I think we were trying. I don't remember. I think we were trying to figure out what we were talking about.
Well, fuck. That doesn't help.
This has been the most disjointed show.
McMuse, get back up here. Let's get all the improv people up here. Let's see if we can't line up.
Together. Musicians, she's performing.
We need to take a bow.
Yeah, let's get.
Everyone has to take a bow.
Up here. If
the performers.
Are any questions, we didn't go to the audience at all today. So if you want to ask a question, throw out an exclamation point. We might have an opportunity for one or two. And then, do you guys have any questions for each other after all this? Yeah, Zerkron?
I missed you.
I missed you too.
I missed you more.
We'll just let them finish.
Everybody's watching. You always do this to me.
Let them watch.
Which one is giving head?
Sorry, Mom.
Which one is giving head?
Don't do that. She's tired of me cheating on her with Nintendo characters.
She doesn't need to know.
my god.
You make me
knows
so
that
bad. You make me so bad. Okay.
And it feels so good.
I'm not responsible for that.
All right.
I'm not responsible.
Oh, I'll take all the blame.
It's the mayonnaise.
Well, Luigi, who was your favorite performer tonight besides yourself, maybe?
Cowboys are paparazzi.
All right. So okay. So Zircon, did you?
People.
Yes, I had one for Gunter, but he was busy stroking his head.
It's not mine.
Yes, so about the variety, how do you feel like about poetry recital at Open Mic Night?
Oh, someone mentioned slam poetry as well on the Reddit.
Well, yeah, you've done some readings, and a few other people have done readings. So definitely, some slam poetry would be super cool.
Yeah, poetry, especially.
Yeah.
I'll slam you.
Yeah, I'm all for all kind. Just that's not what's gravitated so far, but yeah.
Oh, sorry.
He showed up at Open Mic Night on Friday as well. It was a great blast. Yeah.
That's all.
Yes, me and Gunter go away.
I'm looking for like Nomic did like I'm a little teapot with the avatar. Like I'm looking for people to do like stuff with their avatar and get creative and put on a little show. It's just putting on a little show, a little performance. You don't have to sing necessarily. Put something together.
Yeah, you can break all the laws of physics. You can do pretty much anything you want.
Yeah, I want to see what's the next kinds of stuff that people are going to perform in VR.
Oh, actually.
Cooking shows.
What is that?
You didn't like my singing?
You did it.
Oh, wait. I enjoyed it.
No, I love it. I love it. What are you talking about?
And then I saw you.
You know I love it. You know I love it.
All right, let's get some.
You're so hot and cold. You're so hot and cold with me.
We're gonna pause the performance.
Power through, Rubik. Just go.
Should I shout? No, I'm not going to shout. I wondered if from a performance standpoint, we have the people, I mean, we have some specific shows hated towards people making avatars and, showing off avatars' skills. I wonder if people see making avatars and showing off their skills into making is kind of seen as the same as people showing off their talents, singing or performing, if it's the same or not.
Yeah, it's like a new element. Like we sort of talked about that with like the avatar artist like a few weeks ago. But like it seems like it's more beautiful in here when it merges, right? Like when there is somebody who can have the artistry of designing an avatar, but then knows what to do with it. Like Chris has like some like that weird puppet that he can like hang with the cane or whatever. Does anybody else have anything like that?
Scared the fuck out of me, by the way.
You guys all have a ton of custom stuff.
Not that. Not like
you
that.
had your guitar, but you weren't playing it during
unique.
the show, or you didn't have your animation going.
No, I was afraid it was going to mess with everyone, so I didn't actually play it. But when I do my normal performances, this is what I use, which kind of bridges the gap from not having like volumetric 3D capture and other things that can actually like maybe film someone's actual movements and put it in an avatar. Which eventually, when we have that, I see this as bridging the gap until we get to that point.
So you can do that. Somebody on my show did take the perception neuron and record animation into Unity, and now you have animation. And so he applied that to his weird avatar he had here in front of a piano, and then he changed into the avatar, and it played it. He wasn't playing it live, but it actually, you could see him playing the piano, and then it went with it. And that was unique.
Nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
Nice. Yeah,
that's the cool thing about VR chat is that they're able to experiment.
Sure.
Yeah, it's easier to explore.
Easy to.
We didn't lose Eve, did we? Where is she?
Oh yeah, she had to go to bed, I think.
Oh damn!
Aww.
I was gonna have her like wrap it up and see what she thought. Oh well. All right. Well, bye, Eve. Sorry.
Good night, Eve.
Okay. Should we? Unless you guys. Oh, Agent had a question. Sorry.
I have one too. I have one as well.
Okay.
It's not an instrument. Fuck off.
And Meme's the last one.
I'll try and keep it brief. I just wanted to know, like you mentioned the full body tracking before. There was talk of animations, different forms of expression, like from a performative standpoint. is there something or some things that you all would consider the most important aspects to come to full fruition as far as expressiveness or performance is concerned? Like, which of those is the highest priority?
That's a good question.
Maybe we should sort of start go by going down the line. Like, do you want to start with McMuse and go that way?
Sorry, I couldn't hear the question. What was the question?
Sort of what the most important
different modes of expression. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like capturing your movements or your voice, or like what is the most important?
For me, I think I'm more concerned about what the audience is seeing, and like that's why I'm on desktop most of the time, because I more so want it to be an immersive experience for everyone else, and I just kind of want a place to just practice and work on my music. So I think my expressions for the audience would be more important. That way, it is more like a performance and like a real artist performing.
What about you, Chris? Because you have some custom stuff to like perform, don't you?
Yeah, well, so let me bring out real quick. So what's really important with puppetry is just actually let me bring up Mario. That's a better example. Just being able, just to be able to have the movements in sync with the voice. Like, I'm going to go up and down and look left and look right, and that's the only way that that VR really works, or that puppetry really works here, is that you can sync all of your movements. So if I with just a normal avatar, it looks really robotic. Just go, hey, it's me, Mario. How's it going? But being able to move and sync my movements with my voice and just add the puppetry, it works very well. Don't you think so, Gunter?
It's beautiful.
I thank you very much.
It works
Thank you.
very well.
Oh.
Well done.
Oh. Oh. So yeah, just being able to express emotion with just simple spatial tracking. You can do a lot with that.
It's interesting to see how much you actually take advantage of the fact that it's a puppet, because like at first I was kind of thinking like, why not just do the performance, right? Like why not just use like the voice thing and be Mario? But like you do gain something by being disembodied and performing it, outside of yourself.
Right. Like if I were to move like I do with Mario with my own head, I would my neck would be broken. Especially because I like to float around and do a lot of quick changes, like it's all about moving your head while you're talking, and it's based on what emotion you're having. Like if you're very soft and you're moving very soft, or if you're angry at someone like Gunter for just being himself.
It's really that like exaggerated cartoon
Everybody hates
quality.
Gunter.
Yeah, I think it's an emotional experience of the avatar too. Like your emotion when you're reading the audience and all that stuff.
I think that's something interesting for music too. You could have someone like puppeteering as the musician and give it more emotion and performance, and they're just kind of miming the musician's music and listening to them.
Well, actually, with this is actually just a test to see how I can have the feet planted to the floor and what kind of works. Because eventually, I'd like to be able to have a puppet that the body and the feet kind of it's not just a head, but you're still able to control the head as if it was what they call a hand and rod puppet, which are like Muppet style puppets, while still having the feet planted to the ground. I think that sort of thing I'm going to have to work out with the actual VR chat team to get that working. But like you don't want to be able to do this. This doesn't bode very well.
It looks great though.
I think it's
Yeah,
perfect.
it's really
You
fun.
like it?
I think it's perfect.
Do you think he likes it?
I think he does.
It actually works.
It's very VR.
I'm calling the
I
coach.
wish you could touch me.
Beat him with your cane.
Living me.
Oh my god.
All right.
All right.
Sound effects
So
too,
yeah,
I'll be back.
So So yeah, do you want to keep going down the line and wrap it up?
Me Man had one last question, unless somebody else had something to add to that last one, and then I think we're done.
So what about, well, this is more like kind of doing open mic night stuff. What about like performances with a world, rather? We're talking about like performances with avatars. What about using a world for your performance? You know, like take people like on a safari jungle, and there's like tigers, and you like have cues. You have like a little panel that you hold out, and you call the tiger or something.
Well, all of the Mr. Whiskers worlds, I think, have been actual performances in some way, because it's like a play that you're participating in, and even the whole meme of Mr. Whiskers is like it's similar to improv and acting and interacting. So I think there's a whole I think the world building, Gunter, that's why I've been really excited about what you guys are doing with that.
Do you want to explain a little bit about what it is for people who don't know what Mr. Whiskers is, or what you're talking about?
Yeah, the Hunt for Mr. Whiskers is a game, basically. In VR chat, it's very meta. It's called an ARG, which is alternate reality game. Other games, when they've released, they've done those kinds of things. Where you have to scour websites, connect clues, and to discover all kinds of stuff that tie into the story or whatever that ARG's done. So Mr. Whiskers is an old co-host of mine from a year and a half ago, and so we resurrected that character that's not around anymore to participate and create this, be a nice villain for this story. So we get a lot of other people involved, a lot of community members. Basically, it's all community driven to provide an experience, to provide part of a story. They're not there performing live, but they are trying to give the impression that there was this character, Mr. Whiskers, there. It's starting to dive into story.
And they're performing. Their worlds are acts. Yeah, their worlds are kind of acts of performance, right?
Somebody's snoring.
You bored Mario, dude.
Chris.
Oh my. Sorry.
We get more options and tools.
Oh my god.
It's okay, Mario.
Sorry,
you're right.
still
Like
You can
Playmaker
pause
and
the
whatever.
performance. It's okay. We're not performing all the time.
But it's like in the very beginning of the show, you said that we were performing all the time, and life was
That's
a
true.
performance.
That's true. Well, I guess
Gotcha.
I think that's interesting. I think the line of where we choose to be on stage or be in front of others is interesting.
All right. Any final thoughts
Isn't
from
it?
anyone else on stage before we close it out? Anybody? All right, I think let's do a big group
I thought this was the
photo.
Mario show.
Why don't we keep everyone in their seats, and we'll sort of, maybe we can fit in front of them, and we'll be able to fit everybody in one
Okay.
picture.
Like a panel?
Let's see if that'll work. Like, can we all get down here and fit somewhere?
I don't know.
I want to stand next to my dad.
Lay on me.
Come here, kid.
Yeah, pretty boy.
Sit on my lap.
Gunter's my real dad.
How do you want me to lay on you, baby?
Am I able to
Whatever
squat?
feels comfortable, my man.
I can't.
No.
Seated?
Well, you can stand. You're a host.
I can't click it. I'm clicking it right now.
It's like a sexual slideshow.
But I'm clicking it. It's not working.
How about over here?
I would have my hand over you like that, holding you close as I was about to
To your left.
bite into your neck.
Feels good.
Ghoster, let us
Please don't.
When I sit down, you
Get in
can't see
position.
anything. This picture over with before my set.
Get in between us, like.
Where?
Right there. In between the chairs, yeah.
Jordan, come here.
Before we do it, and we
The
all
camera loves me.
go crazy,
Pretty much,
can we go down the line and actually, we need more
Am I
information on
hiding
everything.
something?
Let's just repeat our plugs. So for open mic night, when is that, Gunter?
Fridays.
So we Fridays, 10 p.m. Eastern, same time this show starts, 7 p.m. Pacific, and we alternate open mic night with karaoke. This Friday's karaoke, next Friday is open
Is
mic.
the best way to get information to be on the VR chat events Discord?
That's the way to go for all these things. Yep. VRChatEvents.com. There's just a link there, Discord. Boom. Now you're part of the conversation. There's over 1,000 of us and like 20 different events. Come and join us if you don't know about that.
And you're also on there, Goblox,
What are you laughing
for the improv. And you guys do your practice on Saturday and the show on
this whole
Sunday.
time.
Yeah.
It is Goblox, so. See, they're wrong. See, never mind.
What time do you
I've
do
interviewed
your
him. I know I'm right.
So we do our shows. We do our
What have I
shows on
done?
Sundays.
What are you
We
doing?
do our shows on Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then we have
Nothing, babe,
the
it's fine.
workshop on Saturdays. So
And you can find the videos online, and you can get more info on the VR Chat Events Discord.
absolutely, yeah. On YouTube, just search for VR Chat Improv, and you can find all of our videos.
Yeah.
If you go blocks this whole time.
Muse, do you ever play
That's
music
okay,
on
you're not
stream? Or what do you want to plug?
I'm
Or do you have a
sorry.
show coming up?
It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's not tomorrow. I alternate it every other Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific at the Pug. So it's not tomorrow, but the next Thursday, and it's every other Thursday after
That's
that.
a great plus. Cowboys joint.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm missing. So we're missing Eve. Eve went to sleep, so she doesn't get to plug
George, do
anything.
you have anything to plug?
And
No.
yeah, George.
No.
Well, I don't know.
Well, when people come to open mic, maybe they'll find you there.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
technically.
Yeah.
I'm
And
allowed this one in crowd.
Ghosters.
No.
Oh, Mr.
Really?
Puppet Man.
Okay. 30 seconds.
To what?
To plug something.
Go
Oh,
crazy.
and then it's,
Okay, sorry.
Why are you looking at me? I already did this.
the clock's going.
Oh,
There's
him.
no
25 seconds.
Hurry.
There's no event in particular. Just check out my channel. It's my name, Chris Patstone, and maybe I'll see you guys sometime. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And we'll put these links in the
Yay.
YouTube
Short
description.
and sweet.
Put my Twitter.
yeah.
Ghoster.
And thanks.
What are we gonna
thanks
say?
everyone for coming. This was great.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. That was great.
Yeah.
We need more clapping.
Okay, so we're gonna say
Performing and
sorry,
terrible
Eve, on the count of
performance.
three.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry, Eve.
Sorry.
Oh
Not
my
sorry.
god.
Sorry.
I'm
But we
gonna
love
tell
you.
you. Yeah.
I love you, Eve.
Love you, Eve.
I'm sorry for the
Oh my god, she's gonna get a. That's good. That's funny. We choose to be.
Thank you, everybody.
She's gonna think that's
Alright, you
funny.
can take your dick out of my ass.
Thanks, everyone.
Is that a wrap?
Stream.
I think
I'm gonna turn
blinked
avatars
again.
back on and see my system get
Grace,
destroyed.
okay.
Can you switch to the Mario one? I want to check
Yeah.
out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh my
I
god,
was
this
scared.
is
I
like
didn't know
so.
what song to do, so I just like picked
I
one
gotta turn it
random.
back off.
Sure.
No, the
That's
other
great.
I was like, eh.
Mike, I'm on
I
desktop
kind
now.
of fucked it up
Dude.
a little bit.
You want this one
but-
and nothing else.
I couldn't tell.